Hey guys, my name is Mike and welcome to HockeyCast. So a three-way deal gets it done for the Maple Leafs to acquire Blues captain Ryan O'Reilly, which is setting the table down the middle for the playoffs. Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's get into it. It's a big trade. There's a lot of details, so I got my notes here just to get all the details right, and then I'll give my opinion on it. So first of all, starting with the Leafs. The Leafs acquire a former Conn Smythe Trophy winner of 2019, Blues captain Ryan O'Reilly, for a 1.875 cap hit. They also acquire Noel Acciari and the rights to Josh Pilar from St. Louis. And what you'll find that during this trade, St. Louis acquired those rights of Pilar from the Wild. St. Louis, they retain 50% of Ryan O'Reilly's salary, which is $3.75 million, in exchange for a first-round pick in 2023 from Toronto, a third-round pick in 2023 from Ottawa, and which Toronto gained that pick for taking on Murray. And the St. Louis Blues also get the second-round pick of the Leafs in 2024. Also gain forwards Mikhail, Abramov, and Adam Gaudette, and the rights to Josh Pilar from the Wild, which they subsequently gave to the Leafs in this trade for that first-round pick. The Minnesota Wild, they acquire the Toronto's fourth-round pick in 2025 in exchange for a retention of O'Reilly's salary of 25%, which works out to $1.875 million. So essentially, the Wild just bought a fourth-round pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs for $1.875 million. So first of all, with all these picks that Toronto gave up, you have to kind of wonder, okay, so the last few years, Toronto has been where in the standings of the regular season? So those picks that they have, whether it be the first round, second round, or third round, those are going to be pretty low picks, meaning that, they're going to be in, they're going to have like in spots maybe 20 to 30, somewhere in there. I haven't looked at the details, but they're certainly not going to have picks 5 through 10. So when you take a look at a first round pick of 2023, being that where the Leafs are right now and where they were last year in the regular season, you can pretty much say that that's a high second round pick. And then a third round pick, well, you can pretty much say that that's a really high fourth round pick. Okay. Well, it's from Ottawa, so maybe it might be a good third round pick, being that Ottawa, where they finished last year and where they're heading this year, right? So those picks, everyone is getting all upset about. But if you think about it, those picks aren't really that high to begin with. So I think it was a good move by Dubas to get rid of some of those picks, even though he might not have wanted to. However, in exchange for giving those picks, he keeps his top 10 prospects, which is Matthew Nyes, Nick Robertson, Topi Nemela, Pontus Holmberg, Fraser Minton, Ronnie Hervonen, Nick Abruzzese, Alex Steves, Nick Moldenhauer, and Ryan Taveberg. Man, I'm going to have to practice those names. But Dubas kept his top 10 prospects. Where this is valuable is that he already knows those 10 prospects, right? Whereas with the picks, he doesn't know who he's getting. It's just, from what his scouts bring back information on, but he really doesn't know what he's getting in those picks. but he definitely knows what he has with these top 10 prospects that Toronto has right now. So I think it's a good move to hang on to those 10 prospects and trade away some picks to improve the team now going into the playoffs. Much needed forward in Ryan O'Reilly that brings a physical game that can really drag the Leafs into the fight and give them a lot of energy going into the stretch. Because if we look at last year's playoffs against Tampa, it was a close series. But at times, Toronto could have finished it off. They lacked that killer instinct to finish them off in Game 5 or in Game 6. We all know what happened in Game 7, but that's typical of Toronto, right? So they needed that player to give them that edge, to give them that push. And not to mention, the other player that they acquired that people aren't really talking about is Noel Acciari. That guy's a physical player, and that's going to help the team out more than what people are giving credit for. So Ryan O'Reilly, he's 32 years old. He won the Conn Smythe MVP of the Stanley Cup playoffs in 2019 when they defeated the Boston Bruins in 7 games. So after this trade, the Leafs aren't necessarily done. Everyone's saying, oh, the Leafs are done now. That's it. They have no cap space. Well, that may be true, but the Leafs can still acquire defensemen, but they'll most likely have to do that via player trade or acquisition one-off. So with their existing roster, for instance, there's a few players back there and up front now that are deemed expendable so that they can push if they want to acquire a defenseman that will improve their team. So if they can find somebody, then, that would be a benefit if it can improve their defensive core. So last thought, also, Matthew Knies can still join the team later this season in the playoffs. Toronto's development team has been working with him to help him get ready for a possible playoff appearance. And where Knies can help out is on the power play, as a power forward. Knies has a power forward game. He is tailor-made for the playoffs. He uses his size and physical play and relentlessly pursues the puck. He could kill penalties and play in front of the net on the second power play unit. So there's lots of options there to utilize a player like that. And it's all about depth, right? It's all about having the players for the situation. And according to Mark Masters from TSN, he reports that Keefe says that O'Reilly and Acciari are right now on their way to Toronto, and they plan on playing tonight against the Canadiens. Leafs coach says both guys were adamant about playing tonight. So that really is good news for Toronto, and it really shows you the enthusiasm of O'Reilly and Acciari to get in with the new team as quickly as possible, get acclimatized, start learning the system, and just do what they do best. And I'm sure that the Leafs roster is also looking forward to having them as part of the team. So that's all I have for you for right now. Stick with me, and we will talk to you again in the next video. Thanks for watching.